The 55th annual Greek National Independence Day celebrations are underway in Sydney's CBD. The celebrations take the form of a march from Martin Place to the Opera House, with 10,000 average attendance and involving Greek schools, parishes and organisations, as well as various Australian political representatives. The march commemorates the Greek Revolution of 1821, which freed Greece from nearly 400 years of Turkish occupation and is celebrated on the 25th of March. But how have Greeks maintained their cultural roots for so long in another country? Professor Michael Anthony, who migrated to Australia from Greece in 1949 and who has been participating in the march since its inception in the 1960s, believes that enthusiasm for the march has been maintained by Sydney's increasing Greek population.
The number of people in Sydney of Greek descent has increased enormously during this almost half a century. Secondly, this corresponds also to the increasing number of children in the area, in addition to the fact that we now have 3-day schools, which contribute enormously to the increase, and particularly children taking part in the march.
But Father George Liangas, parish priest of St. Nectarios Burwood, and a second-generation migrant who attended his first march in 1989, believes that despite enthusiasm for the march, the third-generation migrants are losing touch with their culture.
We're seeing the next generation, the third generation, and you see a decline in, I guess, cultural participation. You see a sort of diluting of cultural identity. The third generation wouldn't feel as strongly migrant and as Greek, perhaps, as their grandparents. And yet what we see is this quite a strong enthusiasm for attending the march.
This takes the form of a decline in the speaking of Greek in Australia.
What I'm finding, interestingly, that people are losing language at a quicker rate than they're losing identity. That they can still maintain their Greek identity even if they don't speak extremely good Greek. Because there's so much other part of Greek culture and Greek identity that they hold on to, other than the language.
Professor Peter Gerangelos, a second-generation migrant who has been participating in the march since the 70s, believes that there is more to Greek culture.
If we simply focus on just the language, and I shouldn't say just because it's very important, but if we just focus on language, on culture, dancing, Greek food, that sort of stuff, and forget what it manifests, then I'm not sure to what extent that will be able to sustain the third, fourth and coming generations. It's got to be the higher values that need to be understood and appreciated.
He believes that the march holds universal significance for not only Greeks, but the rest of the world.
It advertises, for want of a better term, to the world what it means for us, but it also makes the point with all of the public figures who are in attendance and the fact that everybody's welcome, that those events are not just Greek events. They have a more universal significance for freedom and liberty and the right of people not to be oppressed and to stand up for fundamental core values that they believe in, primary of which, of course, with the Greek independence revolution, were matters of faith, language and culture.
Theo Magdus, a third-generation migrant and participant in the march, believes that the fact that the march can even take place is evidence of acceptance of cultural diversity within Australia.
You saw they blocked off roads for us, you see all the PMs come over, you see all these other cultures coming in and witnessing what we do here, so there is acceptance. We have, they close half the city for us, so it shows that they really do care and they really do have acceptance for our culture and what we believe in.
And at the close of the event, the crowds disperse to go home. But if the fervour, passion and numbers are anything to go by, they'll definitely be back next year. Michael Augustinos reporting for the Culture Collective from the Opera House.